everyone to Fort Wayne Radio Club, Fort Wayne, Indiana. This is our 2019 Field Day event. We're in the old fort, replica of the old fort here in downtown Fort Wayne. It's open to the public, so you're going to see people coming and going while we're moseying and while we're doing our Field Day events.
Where's the old man? Where's the old man? The old man! Where's the old man? The old man!
What we're going to take you through is a little bit of what ham radio does during Field Day, and this is a practice for what we do during emergency situations when we have to set up with no power, no antennas, so we string lines in the air. I'm trying to catch some of that, Fred.
Yep.
All the way up the flagpole, we've got things coming. We've got them coming off the corners of buildings and out to trees. We're going to step in here. This first station is a digital station. Hi, guys. We're doing Facebook Live right now. So here's Joe. Joseph. Want to give me your call sign?
KD9GDX.
He's working digital today. Have you had many contacts?
Got a few. Look here. We've got Illinois, Ontario, and South Carolina.
Very cool. Very cool. So he is using a ham radio. He's using a computer, but he's still working through the airwaves, doing the radio portion of it. It's just connected digitally to what? Ease of translating, maybe?
I guess kind of. So what the computer does is it generates a audio signal that can be decoded by the same program, and that so that signal gets sent just like your voice would to the radio, and that and then that gets sent over the air just like any other signal, and then decoded like voice would, and decoded by the program, and it shows up as text, as you can see here. Basically, all these signals are coming through right now. These are all the signals that were just decoded in the last 15 seconds. And so there's a couple people calling CQ, and some people talking to others, or communicating with others. And I'm not really transmitting anything right now. So lots of people out there operating today.
Okay, thank you, Joseph.
Yep.
Just for a definition for people who don't know, CQ comes from the olden doing where you would say seek you. CQ is anyone out there, and for Morse code, it got into an abbreviation of CQ, easier to transmit and easy to say. So we say CQ, calling all stations, or however we're going to do for the day. Let's go on to the next station. Now, ham radios also do this for events, like I'm wearing mine when I do races and bike races, things like that.
Public service events.
Public service events. And there are times that we have to do the same setup out there because we can't reach the repeaters. So we're going to go in now and talk to someone doing Morse code. Hello, you guys. Alright, so this is called CW, which stands for continuous wave. It's Morse code. We've got Jack, W9GT, and Jim, AC9, what is it?
Easy.
AC9 Easy. So Jack is listening to the code come in. He's deciphering it in his head, writing it down, and then Jim is logging it into the computer in the logging program for him. During this event, we're using alternate power for any of the transmissions. We are allowed to use AC power for the logging computers. The rest of it is all done with alternate, so we're using battery, generator, and solar. We'll show you a solar station next. Alright, you can see the solar panel. We've had to tip it towards the sun as the day moves on. Fred, do you know how many watts he's running on this?
150 watts if I'm not mistaken.
Alright. So He is currently charging his batteries while he's using the batteries so that the batteries don't run low on him. Hi guys.
30 or 40 hours.
We're doing Facebook Live.
Any
So-
DX stuff?
Here we've
No,
got
this is the
Charles
PA, so it's just
and
pretty much
KC9MUT.
stations.
Okay.
I mean, they
Right?
could
Yes.
be on there, but
Okay, and he's on
That's
a
on field days.
he's
you know,
on
a contest for
strictly
this
voice
is a reach furthest.
radio.
You know, on a contest the furthest,
He's on
too.
20 meters,
Well,
which the meters,
multiplied by
those are the
sections.
different bands like you. Everybody's familiar with AM, FM radio. Well, those are bands of radio. Well, these are different bands using different frequencies. They have same numbers, just like you have. AM has a set number that you go through on your dial, and AM has a same set number that you go through on your dial. These different bands have set numbers you work on
But
these
right
as
now,
well.
I mean, that's like,
Okay, Charles, do you have any
we're pretty
contacts
much
today?
eliminated that. We made one. The
How far away?
well, you don't have to.
code test.
Illinois. You can do a lot.
So he's talked to Illinois on his so far. They had to do a little bit of adjustment on the antenna earlier to get things working right.
Is that right?
We're going to go out and around. We don't have any more stations, is what we call these, in this building. We're going to go out across the way to another building.
And this is the one running off battery power. If you look down below,
I've kept hand tickets for years.
Okay. Good.
he's got them, 3 of them down there lined up.
So they're being charged as he's using them, correct?
Yep.
Okay. We're going to walk by a couple cars here that have some ham radio antennas on them. Even myself, it's difficult to tell the difference between a CB antenna or a ham antenna, but I like to think every one of these I see out on the road is a ham antenna. As we're walking that way, we'll show you one of our storm spotter co-hams. He is the one you just talked to, Charles. He is a storm spotter, which is another public service that ham radio operators do, or I should say amateur radio operators do. So he's got quite a few antennae on his truck because that way he can reach the different bands he needs to depending on the situation he's in. Storm spotter signs on the side, so if you see him going by, you know he's a good guy. We have an event we do, this club does, many clubs do it, it's called a fox hunt. To make it short so you can understand, they hide a little small transmitter. Everybody starts at the same starting point and you kind of sort of race to get there by hearing the signal. And the signal's only transmitted for 1 minute every 5 minutes. Well, technically on the end of the 4th minute it transmits for 1 minute and then it's off again. So you've got to try to get to where you're at, triangulate and different things, turning your antennas to figure out the direction that the transmission came from. And it's a race to get there and find it, and whoever finds it gets to hide it for the next month. It's a friendly competition called a fox hunt. We've got, for some of these guys, I kind of wanted someone to bring in theirs, but they'll stick huge antennas in the back of their vehicles that they can telescope up once they stop to get the signal, or some of them have them sticking out of their sunroof, and then they can just turn it as they go when they're driving down the road. It's quite comical. If you see one of those, you know it's one of us. All right, we've got another solar station over here. He laid his out in a different manner. We'll have to ask when we get inside how many watts he's working on today. There's a shot of that antenna. Another note on the storm spotters, when you hear on the radio or the television something about like a tornado has been confirmed or large hail, and they'll give the size and diameter, those are the storm spotter reports that we help. We're called the feet on the ground, and we help the National Weather Service to verify some of the systems. The radar can show up from above, but they can't verify what's actually happening underneath the clouds and on the ground. And that's what the storm spotters do. And we are, a lot of the hams are storm spotters, most storm spotters are hams. Okay, let's go on in here. Well, this is going to be a noisy room. There's quite a few CW, continuous wave, Morse code operators in this room. Hello guys.
Oh yeah, but I go right here.
You might not be able to get them to talk to us.
This is your second time?
We are
Okay.
Facebook Live.
Grade school.
Wonderful. What's
He let me ride my
We've
bike down
got
in the morning.
Jem and Fred both doing CW.
There you go.
With all the noise, they put headsets on to hear without the background noise because it is hard to hear sometimes.
This is being run off that
You
solar
can see
panel.
Fred's hands.
Right. And those batteries.
He's using a paddle too.
We're off the mains right now.
Right, so you,
Then I heard it, and I was like, they're doing
contact.
That's the purpose for today. That's the purpose for all that you see here, is to be show ready.
Okay, once again, they'll be able to use AC power to do the computers. But they've got a bank of batteries over in the corner. I don't know if we'll be able to see that. A lot of people in here today.
Yep.
Okay,
It's almost like
we'll head out.
handheld, like.
But they're working off a bank of batteries that are also being charged while running. All right.
This is just it's called a street key.
Now during field day, we have, there's a lot of things going on here with wires and antennas, so we have guy wires. So we have to make sure that we have everything staked out so people don't trip, because we are open to the public to come see what it is we do. So we have a designated safety officer to make sure this kind of thing is taken care of. That everybody use their helmets during putting up the towers, and we have a tower outside, we'll show you that. And we have gas generators, and so we need to make sure that every time the gas generator is reloaded, they don't just put the gas can next to the generator. So there's a lot to be, a lot of safety issues to take care of when you're doing an event like this with a lot of people, making sure that everything is done correctly. Hi guys, we're doing Facebook Live. Okay, so Ben, what have you got going on here? You're on
I'm on 20 meter sideband.
sideband is voice.
I just made a contact in New Hampshire,
New Hampshire, okay.
and we're just getting ready to call out here and see if I can get some more stations here. We can switch to other bands if the conditions are necessary.
So what he means by putting a call out, he's going to do the CQ call. Ben, are you going to do that yourself, or do you have it recorded?
I'll have to do it myself. There's no memory.
Okay.
So that'll be.
Are you ready to do it so we can show, or not yet?
I'll have to check and see if I got a clear frequency. Otherwise, yeah.
Okay, if we can wait just a moment and see, watch him as he tunes in here.
Whiskey Niner Tango Echo is the frequency in use, please.
That's the
That's
best
the
answer.
frequency in use, please. Whiskey Niner Tango Echo. It's in use.
Okay, so that's another thing that ham radio is all about, is politeness and etiquette. We don't encroach on anyone else. If they're using the frequency, we move on and try to find another frequency that we can use. He had one that sounded like it was open, there was no activity, but when he called out, they did say they were busy. He's trying again for another frequency.
Echo is the frequency in use.
The call sign he's using today, I should have explained, a call sign, when you get your FCC amateur radio license, you're assigned a call sign. You can customize that and get personalized ones at a later date, but you're all assigned one. For an event like this, we use the club call sign, Fort Wayne Radio Club's call sign.
CQ Field Day,
And here he goes
CQ
again.
Field Day, CQ Field Day, Whiskey Niner Tango Echo, Whiskey Niner Tango Echo, calling CQ Field Day and standing by. CQ Field Day, CQ Field Day, CQ Field Day, Whiskey Niner Tango Echo, Whiskey Niner Tango Echo, calling CQ Field Day and standing by.
Welcome to Indiana. Okay, of course.
CQ Field Day, CQ Field Day, CQ Field Day, Whiskey Niner Tango Echo, Whiskey Niner Tango Echo, calling CQ Field Day and standing by.
Yeah, I've been to Atlanta as a motor coach driver
QRZ,
and as a
QRZ.
private citizen, and there was no time of day when I wasn't busy.
Kilowatt Charlie 9 Whiskey Alpha Mike QSL. I believe your call is Kilo Charlie 9er Whiskey Alpha
I've
Mike.
been to the Coca-Cola
Can you
Museum,
QSL?
and underground Atlanta.
I lost him.
You could hear someone, but we call it down in the mud, down in the weeds. It's when there's too much too much static going on, and they can't quite make out what they're saying. You can hear they're talking, but you can't make it quite out.
Kilo 9 Foxtrot Mike X-ray. Please copy 6 Alpha India November. 6 Alpha India November. Over.
You're getting desensed a little bit.
Yeah.
Ben, what frequency are you on?
14222.
14222. Try that if you're out there listening and watching. See if you can reach Ben. Okay, shall we move on?
Yep.
Kilo 9 Foxtrot Mike
Let's see. Maybe we'll pop in and see if there's less people on the CW and show you that battery bank in that one. We'll also find out what frequency they're on in case anyone out there would like to contact them. And if Fred can...
So there's these DX that go to these rare places, rare small islands.
Yeah, there's the battery bank in the corner,
by the FCC.
and it looks like Fred is on 14045.
They don't go there anymore. And there's no guy
Can you zoom? Can you shut it? Okay. In case they need the 05.
Yeah.
Okay, they need all of it.
With either W or
Anyone like to try to contact the guys right here that are working the stations? That's the frequency for that one. All right, this will be a little bit of a walk. Let's see, what have I not told you about ham radio?
Brenda, 6-meter station.
Oh yes, we have another station in the corner, I almost forgot. It's going to be a little loud over here. This is where the generator is outside of the fort.
Facebook Live?
Yes. This is Stuart.
Hi.
He's got his call sign on his shirt, KD9LFW. He is doing 6-meter.
Yep.
Okay, so again, that's the meters are the different bands, just like on the AM/FM radio. Have you had any contacts today?
We did. We had about 5 contacts right after field day started at 2 o'clock. And then everybody seemed to get discouraged because there just wasn't much activity.
Okay.
All our contacts were local, like Indiana, a little bit more Ohio.
Okay.
So I'm actually packing up my rig and we're leaving. This is the club rig.
Okay. But 6-meter is for more shorter distance, correct?
Typically, yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes there's openings. You know, last year at field day I talked to someone in Utah
Okay.
on 6 meters.
All right. What frequency were you on, or what frequency did you have a couple you were sitting on, or were you scrolling up and down the band?
We pretty much stayed on one frequency in calls.
Okay.
You know,
And do you remember which one that was?
50.123 or 13 off. 50.125 is the normal call-in channel for side band at 6 meters. So we were just above that at 50.13 off.
Okay. Good to know in case anybody wants to try. Right now, are you staying on this station?
I'm leaving right now.
Okay.
So I don't know if anyone else is going to take over.
And that's another part of day of field day. You're not required to sit at the station for the entire 24 hours. We tag team if the bands are closed, which means there's not a lot of activity on them. We'll take a rest and somebody will just watch the screens, and when it starts getting active again, someone will jump in on the station and start making contacts again. When we go outside and see the tower where the directional antenna, that's the one that's taking care of this station. That was quite a little effort to put up. It's a team event to put that antenna up. Let's see, did I already... Come on, Fred, did I already talk about the races and whatnot?
Yes, you have.
I did. Okay, what have I not talked about? I talked about the storm spotters.
Right.
We're back outside here, and if I don't know with the glare of the sun if you'll be able to get a shot of the directional antenna that was put up this morning. That one has a rotor on it. But for the band that we're using, we seem to just get better luck facing it north. So, all right, we're gonna make a quick run over this way. Now, we've had the Red Cross, well, he's not a worker. He is on the board of directors for the National Board of Directors for the Red Cross. He was here earlier. We like showing the agencies that we help, we like showing them firsthand how we practice what we do for them. They may have seen ham radio operators on an emergency, like at Katrina and different events like that, the large scale things like that. But this gives them a chance to see how we practice. Alright, this one is called the GOTA. It's G-O-T-A for Get on the Air. This one is for anyone in the public to come in and try their hand at talking. It can be any of the frequencies and any of the bands. Now, the other stations, we have them designated, or delegated rather would be a better word, so that they don't interfere with each other when they're trying to talk. This one goes up and down wherever there's no interference, they can talk. So, let's step in here. Hi Terry, we're doing Facebook Live. We're doing Facebook Live.
Oh, we're doing Facebook.
Yes. Have you made any contacts today?
We've just made one, so.
And where was that?
Alberta.
Alberta, Canada.
Yeah, Alberta, Canada.
Okay. And what band and frequency were you on for that?
We were on 20.
On 20 meters. Okay. And are you guys scrolling up and down the band, or is call sitting and calling? Okay.
We're dialing around. Got a lot of QSB today, and
Can you explain what QSB is for people who don't know?
Well, essentially, it's the fading of the signal in and out, and it can be real problematic trying to maintain a signal long enough to do an exchange for a valid contact.
Right. You may get some of the information, but you can't get all of the information.
So that's kind of what we're fighting with.
Okay. Have you had any kids or anyone stop in and want to try their hand at?
Yeah, there's some youngsters in a bathing suit, but they were more interested in. Why aren't you going to talk?
They wanted
and at that point, there was like nobody to talk to.
Oh, that's too bad.
Okay, hopefully they'll come back with some more clothing on and sit down and operate the rig.
Yeah, hopefully.
So I guess we'll find out.
This is a good way that if you don't know what ham radio is about or amateur radio is about, you can try your hand here and play around with the machines and see that they're not as complicated as they look. There might be a lot to setting them up, but once you get it set where you want it, they're very easy to dial up and down and get what you're doing.
And from my personal experience, this radio that we've got sitting here on the table is not near as complicated as my smartphone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, everything on these radios has a set function or maybe two functions, and then on a smartphone, everything. Got a lot going on.
And I know most of what it does. and my 5-year-old smartphone, I don't know most of what it does.
Very good. Okay. Is there anything, Fred, that you can think of that we have missed?
No, I don't think so.
All right. So we are ham radio operators. I'm sorry I keep saying that. It's the nomenclature. We are amateur radio operators. We do this as a hobby. We do it as a public service for our community. It is camaraderie, it's a lot of fun, it's a friendship thing. We like getting together, for example, after those fox hunts that I talked about where they chase the little transmitter. They always go to eat after that event. Later on this evening we're going to have a carry-in where everybody brings a dish to pass. There'll be burgers and hot dogs cooked on the grill here at the event. Some of the public service events we do, we meet at maybe a fast food joint or something like that to decide who's doing what, give our tactical calls, because you don't want to go by your own call sign when you're doing an emergency, because what if someone can't remember your call but they know that you are on schoolhouse or you are on a certain street crossing. Anybody, you can change amateur radios in and out, take breaks and whatnot, and it's always the same call that they're calling then. They don't have to worry about who's on the job. So we meet at the beginning of an event to sort that out and get directions, and it's usually at a fast food joint, and most often for breakfast. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of camaraderie. There are clubs in every city. There are many clubs all over. Right now you can go on to ARRL, which is Amateur Radio Relay League. And I'm not sure, but I believe that comes from when they used to relay messages. And you can go on there and look up Field Day Locator and find out where there's field day events going on in your area so that you can pop down and see what they're doing. Go to their GOTA station and get online on the air, in their air, in your own area. We have 2 clubs here locally. One is Fort Wayne Radio Club, and we have the AC Arts, which is Allen County Amateur Radio Technical Society. And as much as they like being on the air, I think they like to build their radios and antennas and all their equipment. They're more technical side of it. So if you've ever considered amateur radio, if you have no idea what it is and just think it's an interesting sounding hobby, get in touch with somebody. Find a ham person in your area. Go online and just Google it, amateur radio. You have to look up how to spell amateur. It is an odd spelling, amateur radio. Don't put the E on the end of it. And go on, Google it, find out what's in your area, and come join us. This is a really fun hobby, a useful hobby, and just opened a whole other world to us. And I think that's it, Fred.
73s?
73.